Welcome to the Hidden Driveway Show. I'm your host, AAMU, and joining me today, we have a very special guest departure. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello.
So yeah, a little bit of a different setup today. We're really testing ourselves because we're in public. I know kind of different from how these are normally done. Like there's someone walking around with their baby right now. You can probably hear it a little bit on the microphone. Yeah, so normally, like I do this online. However, Departure is based in Austin. And you know who else is based in Austin right now?
That guy.
Yeah. So worked out pretty perfectly. So like it's gonna be a little bit different. So I guess bear with us because like
this is the first time I think he's done like a long form.
Yeah, this is like I've done in-person ones before, but not like a full length one like this. So
yeah,
we're figuring it out. But yeah, so Departure, how would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. Well, hello. My name is Departure, aka the rap game David Foster Wallace. I'm 18 years old. I'm a born and raised Austinite. I've lived here my entire life. I just dropped my new album, Work of Artist I Love You,
yes,
on
you
the
did.
new year. And yeah, we're gonna get into it and discuss all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
well,
wonderful.
To get us started, is there anything that you'd like to talk about? Is there anything on your mind right now whatsoever?
Nah, bro, I'm just geeked to be here, bro. I'm geeked.
I guess what I want to ask you about is like, have you been to this park that much?
No,
Really?
Honestly, I was raised in North Austin, so I'm not a poser. I was born here, but like I don't know. I hang around North Austin and stuff like that more than I do come to downtown. I come to downtown every now and then if I'm doing a show or going to a show. So people have actually recognized me,
really?
which is really funny. So yeah, but no, I've never been to this park, so this is my first time.
Oh really? Because like I come here like all the time because I live really close to it, and then like my college is like, I guess it's like the docks. Is it over that way?
Yeah, it's over that way.
Someone wants to try and get my location. It's over that way.
Docks.
Yeah, no, you have to go try out the like, I not today obviously, but like there's like the net thing you probably walked past earlier.
Yeah.
Like, you ever come here at night and just like chill, listen to music? Like that's like the perfect, like that's like the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, like the what's it called, the hammock or whatever, I guess.
My friends call it the orb. I don't know if it has like an official name. I think it's called the tree house, but I like the orb more.
The orb. That's fucking hilarious, bro. But yeah, but maybe if I'm on an excursion, I'll go over there.
Yeah.
And chill.
If it makes you feel any better, like I've never been to North Austin before either.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a car here, so it's not the most convenient.
It's okay. I don't have a car either, bro.
Yeah.
I took the metro to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got up in downtown and then I was like, I'm not walking. I got a Lime scooter and then
Now we're here.
Now I'm here.
Yeah. All right. Well, to get to your music now and how I first found out about you.
Yeah, there.
So you've been putting out music as Departure since 2021.
Yes.
But admittedly, I didn't know about you until November of last year. I'm sorry, because one of my friends, they told me that you were like based in Austin and that I should check you out, and I was like, oh, okay. So like the first thing I did was go to your SoundCloud, which in hindsight,
not the best idea.
Yeah, most of your stuff's not on there.
Yeah, I don't really use SoundCloud like that anymore because I got that bullshit thing where you gotta pay like, an exorbitant amount of money a month for pro and whatever.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I wasn't getting with the program on that.
Yeah, but I went there and I was shocked because I found God Loves Us by Five Fingers Noah in your likes, and then I also saw that you had like the hardcore scene rant on the
ATX hardcore rant. Yes, dude. Okay, the funniest thing about that song is the guy. I was at Chess Club for a hardcore show with like my friends' bands and whatever, and this huge dude, he's younger than me, but he's like way bigger than me. It's not a big venue to like mosh and everything, and so I'm like, I'm up against the bar, and this dude just come and like clocks me straight in my shit. And I was supposed to go to Charlotte for like an IND trip. We ended up not doing it, but I was supposed to go to Charlotte like 2 weeks before, and I was like, bro, how am I gonna like heal from this? Like,
yeah,
my face was messed up, bro, and my glasses got broken too, so I had to go get new glasses. But the guy that I made the song about, those first few bars, like, if you are 300 pounds, get the fuck up out the mosh pit, he saw that and he thought it was funny as hell. Like, we're like, me and him are so chill. Like, so it's just like really funny. Every time I see him at a show, I yell at him, I'm like, if you like 300 pounds, and he finishes the line, get the fuck up out the mosh pit. So it's like funny as hell. Yeah, and then Isaac's produced that beat too. I got that beat from him.
Yeah, but I was like, I've never met anybody like here that knew who those people were, because those are some artists that I'm close friends with that have been covered pretty extensively, like on this channel.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I have to go meet this guy. I have to go hit him up because like, what are the chances? But even though like, it wasn't even like meetup, it was just like, yo.
Yeah,
this
you
is
like
crazy.
DM me on Instagram. I was like, yo, I'm from Austin too. You know a bunch of people that I know.
Yeah, we had a bunch of other like music mutuals too, so it was just like really weird coincidence. I think it kind of shows that like if you're involved in like online music like at all, even if the scenes don't like overlap per se, like there will be overlap, because I know the scene you're part of is like completely separate from like my side of it, I guess.
Yeah, like honestly, I know like a lot of people. Like I know a lot of people. I was actually working on like this diagram that like the center of it is like this it's Sky Novo International, because I started that in like 2020, and then I feel like that I asked like 5 people. I was like, is this too egotistical to like make it like this? And they were like, nah, because that was like 2020. I was like 12 years old. I went on Reddit r/vaporwave, and I was like, who wants to make a Chuck Person's Echo Jams tribute project? And that was how it started. And then I met like a bunch of other people. So I met Jasmine Smoke through that, and me and her like still, you know, talk and like work on shit together and whatnot. And then I tried to revive it twice, and then that didn't go very well. But there's a bunch of people that are in that collective that are like, you know, there's like Sleep Dealers and Sacramentians, Gleamfish Emporium, all those, you know, groups and whatnot. So yeah, there's like a huge like branch off. Just I've been involved in like so much stuff, even in just like the past like 5 years. So but
the one connection I found that we had, besides stuff I already mentioned, was I don't know if you ever saw like the name like Teo float around anywhere.
what, like Ao and Teo?
No, it was
I just wanna run.
TEYO exclamation mark. But I was in a collective with him in like 2021, and he was featured on this guy named Ridgie's project. I know on the IND project, like Ridgie, or I think they're like Tilda now, like produced a song that you're on.
Oh, Ridgie, yeah. Lock and Key or whatever. Yeah. He's in, yeah. Just Bix is in that group. I know Clayhead, I think, is in that too. Yeah. Ridgie had a few beats on the IND project. Yeah. Ridgie also knows a lot of people that I know, which is crazy. I actually don't talk to Ridgie that much, but it's, I mean, sick. I know.
Yeah, because I know like Teo was involved in the whole like the soul hop scene.
Yeah.
Familiar with that?
Yeah.
So, like, different than what I was part of, but like he knows a lot of people through that.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, yeah. So like I said, you've been making music, I think since 2020, right? As a Departure since 2021.
Yeah. Well, I've actually been making music digitally since like 2016, but like everything from like before probably 2019 is like it's just gone forever, because it's like on a laptop that just like doesn't work anymore, and also it's like really shitty like vaporwave or like mashups and shit like that. But I have some stuff from like back when mashups were like my main thing, like really shitty mashups from like late 2019 going into 2020, and then 2021 I kind of like branched off of that, and I started making like Nujabes influenced plunderphonics as a Departure. So that was kind of how I got my start with that whole side of things.
Because like you've covered like a lot of different styles over the years, but I feel like the main DNA of like Departure would be like plunderphonics and like abstract hip hop.
Yeah.
So I guess like if you want to go back, like how did you get into making music initially, and who are some of your biggest influences for it?
So I think, firstly, I've always had like a love for music. I actually started teaching myself how to play the piano when I was 3 years old. So for like my first couple of years of my life, I was, you know, working on I was like teaching myself stuff. I didn't even know how to read sheet music until I got into middle school. When I was in middle school, I actually played the harp for 3 years, and that was how I learned how to read sheet music and stuff like that. And then in high school, my freshman sophomore year, I took music theory classes, so I could get like a better understanding of like key and, you know, modality and stuff like that. But yeah, around I was 9 probably was when I don't know how I found out about it, but I found Soundtrap, which
that was how I started too.
Yeah, Soundtrap, and that's like a like big predecessor to like BandLab too. So I was making like shitty stuff on that. And then I think the next thing I moved to was Audio Tool, which is also like a web-based thing if I remember correctly, but that one's not very popular. And then I think from Audio Tool, somewhere along the way I managed to find FL Studio. So for a few years I was using like a free version of FL Studio 12 to like make these shitty vaporwave songs and mashups and whatever. And I actually discovered vaporwave when I was like 8, so that was like that was like a jump off into like learning how to do digital stuff. But yeah, and I think that eventually led into like the whole plunderphonics thing, because around the same time I was discovering like the avalanches and whatnot, so I was like, damn, like this is really good. And then I was like on Discord with like these weird like 4chaner type guys who were into like, I guess for me it was like super obscure stuff. Around the time before I met them, I was listening to like Avalanches, Daft Punk, Justice, like the typical like, I guess, French house and you know whatever. And then they put me on to Merzbow, Clipping, Igor, Ruby My Dear, Venetian Snares, and Vomir. So I was like 9 listening to like crazy like experimental shit, and then a while later, like when I was like 11 and 12, I started like coming back to that, and I was like, you know what, I could probably like, I started like, I guess, officially developing my music taste. So that was kind of the, I don't know, the pathway that I was going into. But I would say my biggest influences are probably like in plunderphonics. So as far as like initial development, it would be, you know, Avalanches, definitely like Clipping, Daft Punk. I'm trying to think. I think Blank Banshee and Floral Shop were also like very key to like getting further into vaporwave. But I think right now probably like as far as being a rapper, I would say my influences there are like Bus Driver, Rap Ferreira, kind of that like whole LA art rap sort of thing. But I'm also getting into like more obscure stuff. Definitely like Dose One and Cloud Dead, like that whole Anticon movement, and then, you know, Idea, Slug, you know, a whole bunch of like backpack rapper guys, LP, Aesop Rock, and all that. So that's definitely like kind of the lane that I'm in. So there's our boom influences.
Yeah, one that like I thought was influenced, and then I checked your reviews, I was right, was like Aerospace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, All Dreams End is the greatest mixtape that I've like ever heard in my entire life, period. That mixtape is like so like, oh, it's like embedded into my soul. I love that mixtape so much. That definitely like also like inspired the like influence and kind of sound direction for Work of Artists I Love You. Like Braille, like if you listen to Braille Brandishing, it's like very rough and like you know, there's like a bunch of like Bit Crush and, you know, almost like, I guess, boom bap like East Coast influence like sound design, because it's like, you know, taking after like Def Chucks and stuff like that. But I was coming in more like a more softer and like electronic like palette and like really glitchy stuff. So yes, Aerospace is so huge. Aerospace, if you're watching this, I love you so much, bro. You're so awesome. Anyways, yeah.
I only found out about it like last month too, because my friend was really into like the whole like lo-fi scene.
Yeah.
And I forget the album name, but it's the one where the guy has like the purple hair on the cover.
Purple hair.
It came out in like 2020, I think.
Bro, if I could tell you,
it's not an English title.
It's not an English title.
No.
Dude, if I could tell you, I would. I can't think off the top of my head.
But like I heard that, I was immediately like in love with it. There's this song with Rav on it that's like so good.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that crazy on Rav.
No,
bro.
I'm not either, but like on that song, it's really good.
Yeah, like if we're talking like Exociety. Speaking of Exociety, No Important is he joined in like 2023, but he lives in Austin, and I actually saw him live in I think November or so at a Quelle Chris show. And my boy Free Hamzy was also there too, so that was super cool. And then Cardinal Blue was there from Braille Brandishing. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off a tangent. But yeah, Aerospace is like my favorite Exociety guy. I'm not too crazy on like Rav and Kill Bill. And,
yeah,
like,
Kill Bill the rapper I hate. Like he's awful. Like, I cannot stand him.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it though.
Yeah, I have to wonder because like I think the first real like thing you put out online was like the Caretakers project. Am I right on that?
Yeah. When I was like also doing the Echo Jams thing at the same time, I was getting super involved into like the Caretaker like fan project sort of thing. I was like one of the they hate to admit it, but I'm like one of the most influential people like in the early days of the stuff. Not to toot my own horn. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. So like March, April, like the first like quarter of 2020 is like when the initial kind of like boom from the YouTube recommendations thing like hit ever at the end of time. So I was discovering that and I was like, wow, this is like really cool. and I was listening to it like piece by piece and whatnot. And I didn't know that there was a Discord server for the Caretaker yet, so I started my own. And then the next day I found out that there was one, and then I was like, we should all move to mine for like no reason. And then the mods put a vote in the server, and nobody wanted to move to my server, but they made me a mod in the other one, so it was cool. But yeah, I think like before we like as a community had like discovered there was like stuff like there was a v/vm fan project from like I think 99 or 2000, and there's some stuff from like 2019 and like earlier in the millennium that like people hadn't discovered yet. It was like super obscure. So when I did the Everywhere at the End of Time stage 7, blech, I was like 12. I made it in like 15 hours, so it's not serious like at all. But we were thinking, this is probably like one of the first fan projects ever. We were technically right, because it's like one of the first 15 fan projects ever. But that kind of like got the ball rolling, because I like made my project, and then as a community we were like, we should like make projects together. And then that turned into making Somewhere at the Beginning of Time, which I was kind of like the, I guess, musical director for. I had like 4 tracks on it, and then when Echo Inc., which is what Sky Nouveau was like a label, was like a net label, we put Somewhere at the Beginning of Time on Echo Inc. So I guess I was handling like all of the organization and stuff like that. Originally it was supposed to be structured like a mini Everywhere at the End of Time, but then we were like, fuck it, let's just scramble the track list and make it like a compilation or whatever. So yeah, those were like the first, I guess, 2 big ones. And then Jordan Kearing and we started working on Nowhere at the Millennium of Space, which is like one of the bigger ones as far as like having an outreach beyond the community itself. I had some like really important like ideas, like the ending sample, which is it's the same sample that's used on the end of New Slaves by Kanye West. I came up with the idea to use that as the ending, like the Terminal Lucidity sample for the project. And then there were some other ideas. I think I came up with the title for it and some of like the ideas for the initial cover art. But I stopped like being involved with it after like in the middle of the summer, because I had some like personal problems with like the community at large. So I was like, I'm gonna step back and then kind of re-enter this later. But yeah, that was like super big as far as like before I started making music as Departure, as far as like important to my career. And a matter of fact, that sort of like being the beginning of my career is why I reused the Death of Rave cover for Work of Artist I Love You, because it's sort of like a callback, and it's like making like a full circle moment, or full circle moment as like a career influence sort of thing. So
yeah, because I know Hauntology's had like a very big influence on your career as a whole. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think also like, was it cool having like the EVS like remix EP be a thing? Because like your work was kind of created by like you started off doing like essentially remixes of other people's stuff and like mashups, and now like people are remixing your stuff.
Yeah, it was super cool. I think like in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like that crazy, but it definitely was like a way for me to kind of like revisit my relationships with some artists, and then also like get more in community with other artists too. So that was I think the first thing that like Lua Trilogy and I had ever worked on together, and I think that was how like we kind of met, is I announced it and she said that she wanted to do a remix for it, and people fucking love that remix. It's like the most popular remix from that EP. And then there's also the remix from 2003 or MMII, and him and I have like worked on stuff before. Like he had some credits on Ibiza Dreams, and I think he is also technically in Sky Nouveau International, but I mean that's not active, so like it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, and then there's the Elm Maxwell remix, and she's super cool too. She actually just saw the Lampreys live, and I guess Guinevere Lindsay, I'll call her. She actually just recently joined the Sleep Dealers too, so that's also like crazy, interconnected web type shit. And then and there's a July 38 remix and stuff like that. So yeah, that definitely was I guess cool to do for a period of time. That was also like one of my first like bigger records too. I was kind of stepping away from hip hop, and I was like, I like to kind of like go into myself for a minute and then come back and then be like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna come back to this now, sort of thing. So yeah.
No, I think it's cool that you still kind of take concepts from your older work and like implement it yourself today, because like not every album or like EP you put out is like a hip hop like project. You're still willing to like do other stuff.
Yeah, there's like it's either like primarily hip hop and then it has influences from like other genres and whatnot, or it's just like not hip hop at all. But I don't think I'm ever gonna be that guy that's like, oh, I hate hip hop, I'm never gonna do hip hop ever again, and then I like do a Post Malone or whatever the fuck, and it's just like I can't really do that because like hip hop's not even the first genre that I started doing, but I have loved it for my entire life. So that's why I'm kind of like here. But really, and I hate to do the whole, oh, I'm not a rapper, I'm an artist, blah blah blah. But I'm like an artist, and then rapping is like part of my toolkit of like artistry. So that's, you know, I'm not afraid to like be like, oh, I'm a rapper or I'm a producer and shit like that. So but yeah, and
then for your production, like, are there any influences for that? Because you do self-produce like a lot of your stuff.
I do self-produce a lot of my stuff. I can't really like put down a specific list of like influences, because I mean every record is so different. But I mean, I guess honestly, part of like a trademark style of my production is like the heavy sampling. I think there's only like so many songs in my discography that use like some level of like original like melody creation or, you know, whatever. Sometimes like I'll literally just like steal samples and then like resample them to do whatever I want. So I guess maybe like the Avalanches are kind of to blame for that sort of thing. I was like, damn, if they made a whole record using only samples, then I can just do that shit too. It doesn't even matter. So
yeah, I'm sure like Dilla also, right?
Yes, Dilla 100%, because I was getting into him like around the time that I dropped my like first record, my self-titled record. That was really like more Nujabes influence stuff, but there's some Dilla and like Doom and Madlib influence on that. And then after I dropped that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get more into this stuff. So yeah.
Also, like, I don't want to keep harping on it, but like with the Everywhere at the End of Time project, like, because you would have been like 13 or 12 when you heard it for the first time, so I
was 12.
That's a really heavy project to like hear.
It is.
Be like, I'm gonna make my whole like artist identity like off of this for a little bit.
Yeah. The funny thing is that when I got into that record, there was like an active like sample finding sort of thing for that project, and like I think over half the samples for that album hadn't been like discovered yet. There's still a couple that are like not like found, and it's incredible what they've been able to do as far as like finding stuff that's used in like the post awareness, that latter half of the album. The funny thing is that when I was getting into that record, it was like, you know, COVID lockdown and stuff like that. I wasn't staying with my parents, I was staying with my grandma, and I was asking her, I was trying to show her some of these songs, and I was like, do you recognize any of this stuff that's used in these songs? It was so funny. I wasn't very successful in that regard, but it was kind of a funny moment.
Yeah, I wish I had done my first listen to that better, because I think I was supposed to listen to it on my first day of online school. Because I was like, I don't give a shit about this. I'm gonna listen to like this 6-hour album during all my classes, and that was not the environment to listen to that in, like, at all.
No, it's not. I didn't go through it all in one go the first time. I kind of like broke it up into different like sections, and I would mostly just listen to it, you know, like while I'm studying. Because low-key, like the first like 3 stages are like good study music, I would actually say. Even stage 3, like when it gets like, oh, spooky and shit like that. But yeah, that was kind of the like way I was listening to it, and then I've come back and revisited it and, you know, gone through it again. But yeah, I mean, I know that I can't remember if Kirby says that the way to listen to it is you have to listen to it like front to back, or like, you know, with headphones or whatever.
I think front to back because of the idea of experience, because you get so used to how it sounds that when like it cuts like the next like phase, you're like,
yeah, you're like, oh, dude, what the hell? Yeah, that sort of, yeah, I get that. Yeah. I definitely did not do that. I didn't do that.
I need to listen again someday, but it's like so long that it's like I don't know if I have the time for that anymore. Like that was like the COVID album for people. I think
it really was. It definitely, for me, it was. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on. So while I'm initially from Houston, I've been based here in Austin since the fall of 2023 when I started college here.
Word.
and you've lived in Austin like your entire life.
Yeah.
You're a very proud Austinite.
I'm what they call a unicorn. I've been told is a born native Austinite. I'm a unicorn.
Yeah, but despite me being here for almost 3 years now, for as long as I've been doing like the artist interviews, it's always been people that I've known online, despite the fact that Austin, like, it calls itself like the music capital of like
live
the world.
music capital of the world is what they call us, and I think we hold that title pretty well too.
Yeah, and I was always, like, I was never choosing to like look into the scene here for whatever reason. Like, I have a very surface level like knowledge of it, but like I know for you're very involved in like the hardcore scene. You've done like
underground
DJ sets, like the Tunnels, which is like a
Yeah.
huge like spot in Austin.
Yeah,
Um,
super big for DIY stuff. I actually had a guy that I did a show with last year ask me if he wanted to do another one. So we're hooking stuff up. We'll be doing more shows in the Big 26.
Yeah, so I guess I was just wondering like what your experience has been like growing up and participating like in the Austin scene.
Honestly, as far as like music goes, I wasn't really like exposed to like the whole idea of like the local artists and this, that, and the third, probably until I was like getting into high school. And because most of the work I was doing, if I was working with other people, it was always online. So it was just like, and when you're young, that's kind of like just how the cookie crumbles. So it's just like this kind of like enveloping myself more into the scene has been like a more recent experience. But I mean, I'm learning to take it in stride and try to be, as authentic as I can be about that. And I don't know. I'm definitely like, there's a lot of things about the scene that have influenced me, obviously, being in the hardcore scene. And honestly, I don't know that I would have really, like, being with Dormitivis, which was the death metal band that I was a DJ for a few months at the beginning of 2025. Those were the guys that were like, they really helped me like get out of my comfort zone and like just stop being like a online artist or whatever, and like actually do shows and stuff like that. The way that I was able to do my first show was actually through them, because it was basically like they know a guy that knows a guy, and that was how the ball kind of got rolling. But I've been getting more comfortable and used to like being around and stuff like that, and being recognized. So it's it's a really cathartic feeling too, like being able to like know that your influence like extends to like more than just beyond like what you put on the internet. So and that's honestly the kind of impact that I want to have, like being an artist here. I have so much love for this city, and that I really want to like give back to the city like what it's like imprinted upon me, and that sort of thing. That's the kind of like relationship that I have.
Yeah, because like I guess most music I listen to is hip hop, but I don't think there's really like an Austin hip hop scene like that I'm aware of, right?
Honestly, it's a little more segmented into different bits and pieces than I would like it to be. But I think one of the like quintessential, and I really hope that he does this again, by Free Hamzy, he put on like a hip hop and jazz festival at Empire called Razfest, and that was like one of the like best nights as far as like local music is concerned. Like there were so many, like Jay Soulja, Free Hamzy, Cardinal Blue, The Locust. I think I can't remember if Chucky Black was there, but then I know Storm Shadow, and then Quelle Chris also performed there, and that was the first time that I met him, and then I met him again at Electric Church. And there were some other artists too. Black Child is also from here. And then there were some other artists that were from, out of... I actually met Denny Brown there because there was a Jane River show happening somewhere else in town that he stopped by, and then he went to go perform with her for. And Denny Brown lives here, so it's like... and then Casa Overall, and I can't remember if Mockjaw is a local band or if...
I think they're local.
Yeah, Mockjaw's a local band. Okay, that's what I got right. But yeah, that was like super... Like when I was there, and I wasn't on the bill, but there was like a second stage besides the main one for like DJ sets and whatnot. There was I think Dr. Bobby Banner. I think he's also from here. He was doing a DJ set, and I got to do some freestyling over that. And then I met some dudes who were from like San Antonio and stuff like that. But overall, like it was just a really like it was such a unique experience, because that's like one of the best ways that I've been able to see like the scene like come together, even though we're all very like staggered. We're in like different parts of the city and whatnot. But that was just like a beautiful night, and I really want to see more stuff like that happen, because it's just a testament to like what we can achieve if we like come together and like create a community of artists that like support each other in their art and stuff like that. So it was really good.
No, it's really up to the people to make like a scene, because there's one artist I've interviewed in the past named Hank Rubé, and he lives in this like random town in California, and there's like a big like industrial hip hop scene like over there in like Modesto, California.
Yeah, word.
And it's just because like that's something that they decided to put together, and there's a lot of people that are like punk adjacent that like fit into that now because they managed to create that. So
yeah, I mean, well, punk and hip hop have like a sibling sort of relationship.
Yeah.
They emerged at the same time. They have like, you know, similar like, I guess as far as like politically like what made them like exist. So yeah, I mean, that doesn't really surprise me that much, and that's why I'm also not averse to like the relationship that I have with both hip hop here and hardcore. And then also like it's like I was describing it was like on the Aux podcast, I was describing it, there's like a trifecta sort of thing with the hardcore, rave, and hip hop scenes here that I kind of like exist at the center of. But yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. That's not definitely like foreign at all. And I think that people like generally like culturally respect somebody who's able to like kind of juggle like being at an intersection of any of those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see like any issue with it or whatever. So I didn't not expect that sort of thing to happen.
But I think it's cool because they've managed to create this space like all on their own essentially, because they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And then also because like I know you obviously you're making music since you were younger, so you had to like kind of deal with being like departure like in school. I know you're pretty open about that because you had that whole like interview from when you were in like high school.
Yo, did you see that? Yeah, that was funny. I think I was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
And I had just dropped Composition, which in hindsight is not that great of a record, but it was definitely like kind of my first like bigger hip hop record. And that was the first record that I started rapping on, but it was not good at all. Yeah, I knew this girl from my Mexican American Studies class who was in the like it was in the yearbook department, but she worked for the paper at my high school. And I was a sophomore, she was a senior, and I asked her if she'd be willing to do an interview, and she was like, yeah. And so she did an interview, and then she like wrote all the extra stuff and stuff like that. That was, I think, probably the first like interview that I did. It's a little embarrassing, but yeah, that was a good like starting point. People started like kind of recognizing me in school and stuff like that. So
yeah, because I know when I was in high school, like I was very secretive about my music just because like I just didn't get like made fun of, I guess. Which in hindsight, there's no reason to be afraid of it, but I just like was so.
I'm not gonna lie,
being judged.
People like to make fun of you, which is so stupid because it's just like, bruh, like, you know, like popular girls gonna be like, do you make beats and stuff like that? It's just like, oh, it's like so stupid. But yeah, I think that was kind of like the first point in which people were like, okay, there's this guy at my high school and he like makes music or whatever. And then I think after I dropped Brandishing, and that was like the like middle of my senior year, that was when I was like, people would like jokingly do it, or they would actually see me and be like, yo, do I know you from somewhere? But like all my friends and like people that I knew would be like, oh my god, is that Departure? I'd be like walking the hallway, I'm like, bruh, I'm like nonchalant shit. But yeah.
Yeah, I know I couldn't find it, but I know for like a class of sound you were also interviewed too.
I was, but I took that down because it didn't. Okay, first of all, I looked ugly as fuck in that video. I wanted to wear a hat because that was the thing I was doing at the time. They wouldn't let me wear a hat because it would like cover my face. My teacher was like, no, you can't do that. But yeah, I took that down. And also like the way that I answered the questions were kind of weird because like the question would get asked and then I would answer it based on having heard the question. But then for the final video, we cut out the questions, which that was like part of the assignment. We had to do that, and it just like didn't make that much sense.
I don't like when, because I've seen some that are like that. I don't like that style like at all.
Yeah, it's not very efficient, or like it doesn't help the listener like understand it at all. But yeah, that was mostly for like a project. I wasn't being like interviewed by somebody like more than like outside my film class.
Yeah, but it still shows you're confident with being like, yeah, I'm Departure.
Yeah,
look
that's
me.
What
I'm doing. Yeah,
that's me. Yeah, I think also like it was kind of a combination of like dropping barrel brandishing, and then also when I was indoor metabus, two of the guys, Ray, who's the vocalist, and then Hayden, the bassist, they also go to my high school. They're also still in high school right now. And then Jacob, who's the drummer, he went to my high school, but then he got like pulled out, but he was like still with the band and whatever. And I know Gabe, he was going to a different school, and then he and I were both seniors at the time, so we're both graduated, and we're also both going to ACC. And then Lucian, who was the guitarist at the time, he was going to like Austin High School or something like that. So he was kind of like further down south and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you've been involved in the Austin like scene beyond just music too, because I know you helped your friend like set up like an art fair or something.
Yeah,
right?
that's JDFM.
Yeah.
That's like my best friend, like my homie for life. That's my twin, Jordan. He's like, his verse on 97 Camry is like the first verse he's ever like written or recorded, but he still did like really good. And I wasn't trying to get anything like super serious from him. That was kind of like our song, because it's literally like he literally has like a busted up 1997 Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
That's what we ride around in like all the time. So yeah. Jordan, I met him when we were sophomores, and then like getting into junior year and senior year, we kind of like started like getting to know each other better, and then senior year, like we really kind of butted heads and like worked on stuff together. Yeah, he's also a painter and a photographer. He's just like a super creative dude, and he also does some of my music videos. He did the music video for Word Targets, and also he was in the video for Little Youngin Strikes Back. Yeah, that's my guy. He wanted to do his first like solo exhibit at this like place up in Round Rock, and he like spent all of his like own money to do it, but it was basically like me, him, and then his little brother. We like kind of helped set everything up. And then also Catherine Bogue, who is on the new record, and she was also on A Visa Dream. She was also there for the first day, because we did it was like a 2-day exhibit, so we did one day and then we came back for the next day. She also helped with some of the stuff too. Yeah, and it was just like super cool. And also, yeah, he was selling paintings and stuff. He managed to get a good amount of his paintings sold. We had some people from our high school and his friends and family and stuff come. And also we had like one room where like you walked in and immediately it was just like all the paintings are on the wall, and then there was like another room in the back, and we were just like playing the short film that we made together on repeat. Young, Dumb, and Thinking of Dying. I did all the editing, some of the filming for that, and I also did the short like soundtrack with the like ambient stuff. So yeah, him and I are like super like involved together. I don't know, it's just like super cool, the stuff that he's been able to do on his own. He's been telling me some like really like crazy ideas for like future films and whatnot, and I don't know, I'm super proud of him. Like we really go hand in hand. So
yeah, I'm glad that like the first like hour whenever we do with someone here, like it's someone that's clearly like has like just a love for like the city and like what's happening here.
I'm not like a transplant or whatever from like,
Yeah.
California or some shit. Yeah, no, I'm born and raised, like I'm really out here.
Yeah.
Trying to put on for my city.
So like from what I've gathered, it seems like you're a very like project-based artist. So to me it's cool to see like when you decide to put out like a single for like one of those projects, like a Lucy, just like what your decision is, like what you choose to put out for that. And a personal favorite of mine is Lyrical Exercise number 4 off your Austin Gossip Carrier mixtape.
Oh yeah.
Because like in 2021 I used to listen to like, I don't know what you would really describe it as, but just like a lot of hip hop that had like sleepier beats, I guess. And I heard that and it like took me back to that time like immediately.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of like I know that beat is from All Dreams End, and that's sort of like, like the LA beat scene influence and whatever. So that was kind of like the lo-fi hip hop before it got like commodified, and now we have all of these like really lo-fi relaxed beats to study to 24/7 and shit like that. So like the whole like LA beat scene when it was like lo-fi before lo-fi and whatnot, that's from like I think early 2010s. I can't remember who remember who produced that beat. I don't think it was Beatbox Bandit. I think it was Ollie who produced that, but I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me who produced that, but it was on All Dreams, and I know that he credited all the producers on that. So, yeah, And also that I think I recorded that mixtape in like a day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was I don't know. I was like, I just like locked myself in my room and I was like, nobody come in. I'm like recording music. Don't bother me right now.
Yeah, so I might be reflecting on the past, but I think it's important to kind of look at the present as well.
Yeah.
And there's a line off that song that I really love where you say, transform and break free from your cocoon to let the present shine.
Yeah.
And present us is always an evolution of our past selves. So this might be a hard question to answer, but like, are there any specific moments in time that you can like tell or like, yeah, I am who I am today because of like these things?
It's never like any like singular experience, honestly. Like I feel like a lot of my lyricism is like rooted in like stream of consciousness thought, and I think that's like very apparent. So oftentimes like when I like come to those realizations, like I'm really just like thinking to myself, and that could be at like literally any point in time and not, be, doing something in specific that would like make me think about that. It's just really like me thinking. And I don't know, it's like I also feel like people kind of tend to get like hung on to like who they are in like the past, and I think part of like being what I call as like a complex human being, like we're all complex human beings, like we don't have perfect morals, we don't have perfect beliefs, we contradict ourselves constantly in our actions and our thoughts and our feelings. And if you get like hung up on like mistakes and whatnot, you're not really gonna like grow as a person. It's okay to reflect on those past experiences where you fucked up or something, but it's good enough to just like reflect on it and then be like, you know what, tomorrow is a new day. I'm gonna be a better person. And you don't even have to consciously think about I have to be a better person. It came with your free being a human being. Like like, bro, you have Uno, bro. It came free with your fucking Xbox. Like that sort of thing. Like that's sort of the thing I'm talking about, where I'm like, you gotta like transform, break free from your cocoon, like your cocoon of just like overthinking and like being wrapped in your own thoughts. So yeah, I guess that's sort of the thing that I'm like touching on, is like I fuck up all the time. I say some stupid shit, or I like, I'm acting out of turn, and then I had to be checked by somebody, or I gotta check myself, and I'm like, okay, damn, like that was fucked up, I shouldn't have done that. Then you kind of move on. You don't dredge on it for too long. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about right now.
I don't know if you're a big like New Year's resolution guy, but at least for me, I've always thought that like it's better to have like a more broader goal instead of like, I'm gonna do this thing, because when I say that, it never happens. But if I have like I want to be more confident, for example, that kind of just happens throughout the year because I'm being a human being and having experiences.
Exactly. And honestly, that was the sort of thing that I was like kind of like butting heads with my like parents and my family about when I was like, getting ready and preparing to like wanting to go to college. Ideally, I would be in Boston and Berkeley right now. That was my dream college. I wanted to go to there, and they didn't accept me into there. So that's fine. And I had all these other options, and I was like, part of it is just like not focusing like specifically on what it is, this exact thing that you want to do, because when people kind of like they set goals and then they like work backwards, and it's just kind of like, for me, like I just don't function that way. I have to like start at this one point and then know broadly that I'm gonna end up at this other point. I don't know how exactly I'm going to get there, but I'm going to like create the steps as I go along, and eventually at some point maybe I won't end up here where I broadly thought I was going to be. Maybe I'll be over here. Either way, I'm still happy.
Yeah.
So that's like the whole idea.
I've had that exact experience, because like at the end of every year, I like to record a little like video for myself, just saying like how I thought the year went and then some stuff I want to do next year. Yeah. And I found that like I almost never do the things I said I wanted to do, but I do a lot of other cool stuff I didn't even think of at the time.
Exactly.
And it's like that's how it should be, I think.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing too. It's like sometimes like it's good to like trust your gut, but sometimes you like can't even rely on yourself. You can't like, if you come up with goals, you have to have like, for me it's the sort of thing where like if I have a goal, it has to like come to me. I can't just like I can't just think about it on the spot and be like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's like for me, I'm just I'm really kind of a living in the present sort of guy. So it's like, I'll take things as they come and just like live my life, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's also a little hard for me to like think about the future too much. Like whenever, like even throughout my life, I've thought about the future and like where I would end up in like the next couple of years, and I never get like really sad thinking about it as much as like I've noticed other people do, because it's just like, I don't know, I can always like imagine myself in a good position, and I think if I'm like, consistently having those sort of thoughts, I'll be able to, I guess, manifest that I would like, end up in that sort of position, or end up in a position where I would be happy regardless. So I'm not a very picky, choosy type of guy. Like I had to have this. I have to have this. This has to happen. I do like to plan very, very thoroughly. In fact, some of the other people I've interviewed, I asked them like months in advance instead of just kind of like asking on the spot. So yeah, I'm very like thorough in terms of like, if I know I'm going to do something and it's just like an event or whatever, I'm very like set, and I like to leave early because it's like, my thing is like better late than never, but never late is better. So that's my sort of thing. So yeah,
I like that. So I mentioned earlier that plunderphonics is a big influence in your sound.
Yeah.
And while so prevalent in your current work, you used to do entire projects based on that sound. I was listening to Ibiza Dreams to prep for this interview, and my jaw dropped because I got to. I'm gonna have to. Corinth. I don't know how you say this song.
Oh, Corinthish.
Corinthish. Okay.
Okay.
Because I recognize the monochrome photography sample, which is a song that I loved back in 2023.
Yeah.
And it like immediately took me back to that time. So I guess, are there any things that like, let's say like you see them or you hear them that like take you back to a specific like place in your life?
Yeah, I think I have a natural tendency to like gravitate towards whatever like gives me a sort of, I guess, feeling of nostalgia. And I feel like that sort of thing is like a concept that's like prevalent in my work in general, like kind of thinking fondly upon like this like abstracted idea of like whatever you enjoyed in the past, like I don't know, thinking about how like LED lights are white now instead of orange, or something like that. So I don't know, yeah, like sometimes I will hear a sample and I'll just be like, okay, this is like taking me to like some place in the past, and it doesn't have to be a song that's like connected to any specific event. It's just like a song that like reminds you of the past. So it's like that sort of thing is like really just prevalent. And I think on this new record too, it's more prevalent because of the connection to hauntology, less kind of directly in like exploring the sounds of the movement itself, but mostly focusing on like the initial thesis that like Mark Fisher was developing in regards to like how hauntology has like affected the like culture of the UK. And that's also like why Leland Kirby is like kind of influence on the record and the whole Death of Rave thing. I think on one of the tracks I did actually directly sample a track from Death of Rave, so there's like more of a connection just like beyond aesthetics. But yeah, that sort of thing is like, I don't know, I like analyzing how like we think about nostalgia rather than just kind of like embedding like my work like inside it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the like angle that I approach nostalgia from, really.
Yeah, I guess like one thing that I'll say, because we'll talk about the album more in a little bit, but when I heard the first track off it, which is Rap King Dear Foster Wallace,
yeah,
it reminded me of so much stuff that I was bumping in like 2020, and like took me like I could have listened to like a song off that album like then it would have fit like perfectly in place like what my taste was at the time.
Yeah, like some of the sampling on the record too, like I never like, my sampling is mostly like a mix of whatever I'm listening to like right now or what I've listened to before, and then I will go and find new stuff that fits that sort of thing. So that's why there's like the intro is literally a reference to Mr. Wazo, because that's the shit that I was bumping, like the French House, like Ed Banger stuff in like 2020. So I found like the original text to speech thing and like made it sound like what it was saying. So instead of him saying like this is computer music or whatever, I was like, this is real hardcore music for ATX punks, get in the pit or die.
Mhm.
So that's also like kind of like my work in like sloganeering and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. And then also the beat that Zoddy made for that. That was actually a beat he already made. I didn't ask him to make it, but I asked if I could grab it from him. And that uses a Flowetry sample that like is actually one of my favorite songs. And I was like,
she's so good.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I had actually sampled that song before on the Footwork EP that I made in 2024, like towards the end of the year. And that was a song that I had done with Jasmine Smoke. So yeah, like everything on that record is really just like a full circle like moment, like really coming back to these things and like bringing them all together.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Common is like an influence for you at all, but like,
Oh yes.
yeah, I love B back in 2020, and like the chorus on that song reminded me like of something of B a little bit.
Yeah, like the intro. I
Yeah.
can see that. Honestly, he only has like one like perfect album for me, and that's like Water for Chocolate.
Mhm.
That is my like all-time like favorite Common record. One of my favorite hip hop records of all time too, because I was bumping that a lot in like summer of 23. Like spring and summer of 23 was like so like perfect. Like I knew I was like living in a moment. Like spring break, it was like, dude, I spent the whole week listening to Nujabes on repeat, drinking Arizona green tea, and playing Minecraft. It was like the whole week, and I would like go out and ride my bike, listen to Nujabes. I was listening to like bro, I was like obsessed with Nujabes. I was like rediscovering my love for him.
Mhm.
And then summer, it was just like, you know, I'd be biking around, listening to like Nujabes and Common, and like going through our neighborhood and stuff, like, you know, going back to my like old elementary school and stuff like that, you know. Just fucking doing my thing. So it was like, sometimes you have those moments where it's like, you know that you're like having an experience right now that like you're going to look fondly upon.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have those moments where like you don't realize it yet, but you're gonna reminisce on that so fondly in like a few years from now. And that period of time was just like one of those moments I was like, damn, like I'm like living the dream, and like really. So yeah, that's sort of the, I don't know, I'm just talking about shit.
No, those shots are so special though. Like I had that during the summer 2023 also actually.
Yeah.
Because I just graduated high school, and it was like that was the first time that I was really like going out and doing stuff. Because like I
Yeah.
had a car, I could go out wherever I wanted. I was taking full advantage of that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a car yet. Technically, I have a car, but it's not with me in the city. So
Mhm.
I bike. I take public transportation. I have people drive me anywhere. So it's like around junior and senior year of high school, that was when I was like, you know, being with the band had me starting to go out like super late, and I wouldn't get back until like 1 in the morning. My parents were like, okay, your curfew is like 2 a.m. I was like, perfect, because I'm not getting home like any later than that. Yeah. I did come back later one time though, because I went to a mic show at Mohawks with my manager Milan, and that dude dropped me off at like 2:45 in the morning because he dragged me all the way to Domain to go to Velvet Taco. Don't ever go to Velvet Taco if you're in the city. If you think Torchy's is gentrified, you should try Velvet Taco.
Velvet Taco sounds ass.
It's
like
so ass. I was like mad, dude. He had 2 of the Showbiz vinyls because that was when the record had just dropped. He took me to Velvet Taco and I was so mad. He wanted me to pay for one of them. I said, fuck you, bro. I'm stealing the Showbiz vinyl you want me to buy from you. And you're paying for my food. I was like, hell nah, bro. Like, I don't know. I was so mad, bro. He low-key pissed me off. But it's cool, though. It's just, Velvet Taco so ass. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was like really starting to, you know, like go out and kind of like be in, I guess, the nightlife and the raves and all that stuff.
Yeah. So when I reached out to you in November, admittedly, like I had yet to do a deep dive into your work. So
Yeah.
the first thing I actually heard from you was your most recent album, Work of Artist, I Love You.
Yeah.
So it's been cool for this interview because like instead of like seeing what you did leading up to it, like I heard that and then
The
kind of
most
worked.
recent work.
Yeah, I worked backwards to kind of see how you got there.
And honestly, that's honestly what I recommend to people, because a lot of my earlier work from when I was like 13, 14, 15 is not very good. Like there's like semblances of like, wow, this is like I guess ingenious would be the word to describe it. Like these are really like notable moments on the record, but they're not very like consistent or like well thought out. Like I remember the corniest shit I ever did when I was in my freshman year of high school. My teacher had me write like a note for my English class that I'm supposed to get given back to my senior self. And I was working on Ibiza Dreams at the time, so I wrote some like corny ass shit. It was like one sentence about Ibiza Dreams. And my senior year, I actually had the same teacher, and she gave it back to me, and I just handed it back to her. I was like, "You can throw that away. I know exactly what it says." It was like the corn, like when you're young, like the naivete that you have is like almost like a Dunning-Kruger effect of like overconfidence. You're like, "Damn, like I've got it figured out. I know like whatever I'm gonna say, my future self's gonna look back on that and be like, damn, that motherfucker was smart." No, that motherfucker was dumb as shit, okay? I was dumb as a box of rocks, okay? Like nobody has anything figured out, okay? Even if you get older and you're like, okay, I got it figured out. No, you don't. You don't have anything figured out. But that's part of life. That's like, I don't know. That's kind
of what we were talking about, how like you can never plan, like don't ever set like a goal because you're most likely not going to just naturally go in that direction.
Literally, like there are people who are like, oh, if I break up with my girlfriend and I start going to the gym and I grind for like a year and a half, I'm going to achieve all my goals. And it's just like, no, that doesn't happen as much as you think it does.
Yeah. But anyways, I feel like your most recent work is definitely your best project. I'm glad that, like, again, like, I hadn't heard your work. You sent it to me. I was like, I need to do the interview. Like, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Because people will send me stuff sometimes. I always give everyone a chance, but, like, doesn't always mean, like, it'll happen. So,
yeah. Honestly, yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I'm at a point now where, like, I know that I'm going to, like, keep getting better with, like, every project. And so, like, right now, this is really, like, at a peak as far as, like, what I'm able to develop with the, like, conceptualization of a record and make sure that it's, like, actually important or that it's, like, influenced at least by something important. So that's why I'm really, like, I'm glad that people are also like in agreement that it's my best record, because I obviously think it's my best record too. And if I didn't think it was my best record, I wouldn't be putting it out. I'd be like, okay, back to the drawing board. Let's like work on something else. So that's the sort of like growth mindset that I want to have with my work, really.
Yeah, I just think it's a really cool project because like it's definitely like your glitchy sounding like production so far. So the drums are like, they feel like they're constantly moving, but the flow you have like worked in tandem with it.
Yeah,
so it makes it really fun to listen to because like you're bouncing off everything so well.
Yeah.
I guess I was just wondering like what that experience of working on that project was like. Kind of a broad question, but
honestly, the development of the project was really like it was a lot of like ups and downs. And I've talked about this before on other interviews, but I was going through a lot of different like ideas for what I wanted this record to be. Initially, I was like, okay, if you've ever heard Electricity Is on Our Side by Bus Driver, that was kind of like the main mood board for like, okay, I want this really like experimental and glitchy and like grandiose, balls to the wall hip hop record. And after like, you know, kind of like chiseling down at the bits and pieces, I like got to this point. And that sort of mood board was like the first, like probably January, February, because I dropped Bro Brandishing and then I got right back to you know, working on this. So yeah, I was like, okay, I need to work on something like incredibly crazy. And some of the stuff that I was working on, like I didn't know exactly what I wanted yet. I know I wanted something to do with like hauntology and I wanted glitch hop and I wanted these textures, but I wasn't very consistent in the early stages with what the tracks sounded like. So some of the stuff that I made ended up becoming like Aborted Defecated Whale stuff, and that was like, you know, that's my current like side project for like blending like extreme metal and hip hop. And then after, at a certain point, you know, getting towards the end of my senior year, I was like, I'm gonna do like footwork, glitch hop, rap. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna do all this stuff. And then I made a few tracks for that. And then I was like, I don't know how well this is gonna work consistently as like a full length like record. Actually, I feel like what I want to do is too limited by this sound specifically. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch it up. So towards the end of like May, before I was about to graduate, I made Potentially, And then after I got the verse back from High Girlfriend, who just does an amazing fucking verse. I love High Girlfriend. I was like, damn, I can't save this. I'm like, I need to drop this now. And I was like showing people, they were like, dude, they were like, this beat is fucking insane. Like that's like one of my best beats, because it's like really like just balling everything together. Like you have like the old 2000s hip hop, like drums, and then there's like, you know, the ambient like hauntology sounds, and just all that sort of thing. And okay, I was like, I want to do maybe like a cloud rap record now. So I made 40,000 Miles. I made that right after a friend of mine from high school had actually passed away, and I went to the memorial for him. So I made that record. And that was with Samuel Poetry from Weed 420, and that was actually how like I managed to get more connected with Weed 420. So we did the DJ mix of Sleep Dealers, and then I was hitting up Esgua for some beats, and then trying to get beats from other people, but I wasn't really like getting the exact sound that I wanted. So I was like, okay. And at the time I was listening to like mixtape era, like Rob Banks, so like super like crazy like cloud rap shit. That's also like one of my favorite mixtapes ever, is Calendars. And I was like, okay, I'm not really getting what I want. So I was like kind of spending the summer like just ruminating over myself and like, okay, what have I made so far that I can like put together and it'll be consistent? And I'm like, okay. And then so over the summer I started making most of the tracks. I think one of the first tracks I made where I was like, okay, I want this really glitchy style. I was already kind of doing the abstract lyricisms, because I think potentially it's like really like dense, but it just flows really well. So I made Bug Killer's Baby, and then I was like, okay, I need to do another one. And I think I did Bug Killer's Baby and Materialist Raps in the same day, because those are both like kind of built on like /F samples. So I was going like through an era. I was like, okay, if I need this glitch hop sound, I need to listen to actual glitch, and then I can like infuse it with hip hop. I was like, okay, then that has to be like the forefront. And the funny thing is that /F was like also making like LA beat scene type beats in like 2012, 2013. So if you listen to her earlier work, there's still like that like remnant of that sound in her earlier work. I was like, okay, that's perfect. So I made like Bug Killer's Baby, Materialist Raps. Change Your Behavior was an instrumental from like, I think before I even dropped Braille Brandishing, was like kind of coming off the heels of finishing those sessions. So I was like, okay, I just want to use that. And then it ended up working pretty well, because that's also still like kind of glitchy, but you can hear the textures that are like kind of off, like Braille Brandishing almost, of like the lo-fi, the low bit sort of thing. And so, yeah, I just kind of like developed the record like further and further. I was making these, you know, these LA beat scene style beats. And the whole thing just kind of came together like mostly over the summer. I think by like August, September, by the time I started getting into my first semester at college, the record was like basically finished. There was just a few more things that I had to, you know, like tweak the mixes and add this sort of thing. And I think by October it was like pretty much done. So I sent it to Reverie from Isolated Rain. I sent it to DSPs. I was like, okay, the record is done. Like I feel I accomplished everything I wanted out of it. It was really like a grueling process, kind of starting from like basically nothing and then transforming it into this, because I don't like to use stuff from like previous sessions that often, because whatever, like everything from the past is not like a really great reflection of who I am presently as a producer. So if people ask me for beats, I usually just make them a new beat based on what they want, because often like 90% of the time I don't have some shit that they are looking for. So I'll like, you know, whatever it's called, I'll suit it to their needs and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of the whole process behind the record.
Yeah, no, I feel that, because like I was doing a prod tape in like 2023, and it was taking forever to come out. If I thought it was 2025, I was like, I need to scrap this, because like this is not where I'm at now, like at all. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah,
one of my favorites off it was I told you when I first listened to it, but Dada as Language and Art, like that beat is so nuts.
Oh my gosh, that, bro, shout out Zodi for that fucking beat. That beat is insane. The only thing I did was give him the sample. It was like this old like dubstep type sample or whatever. I just gave him the sample, and I think that dude sent me the beat back like within the hour, and I was like, what the fuck? Like the dude, I was like, I knew that whatever I needed was not something I would be able to do myself. I hadn't been able to master that sound of like the chopping and whatnot.
Yeah.
I sent that to him. Dude, he like exceeded my expectations for what I thought he was going to give me. I was just amazed. I was like, okay, just send me the stems and we're good to go. And I think I recorded the lyrics for it like the next day. So that was like super that was just, it is an incredible track, really. That sort of thing is like kind of, you know, combining art into like kind of meditating on like the cycle of life and death. So that's why it's called that, as like Dada's language and art, because I put that sample of like the baby in there and he's like saying Dada and stuff like that. And then there's also the chorus is actually from an Aerospace song, but it's not on All Dreams End. I think it's from it's maybe not Volume 4. It's the one after that, like the girl that has like the big ass tits on the cover or whatever, where I'm going like, I can't give you a reason now. I think it's White Lily. I could be wrong. I think I'm wrong, actually. I think it's just Volume 4. I can't remember who was on the song or not. But yeah, it's from Volume 4. I think Hanekawa is what it's called.
That was the one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, the purple hair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck are you talking? Yes. Okay. The Volume 6. Yeah. Yeah, that is from an Aerospace song, and I sent that to my friend Wither, who is like a really like I guess well-renowned like music reviewer on Album of the Year, and I sent them like an earlier version of the record, but they were like, I already love it in its current form, and they actually noticed the Aerospace like interpolation on it, so that's funny. But yeah, I was kind of like trying to just like, on that song specifically, I'm just trying to paint like all of these like simultaneous pictures of like grief and kind of like, you know, like a cycle of rebirth and stuff like that. And yeah, that honestly, that one's like not that like just complex. It's really easy to kind of like just describe the meaning behind it. But I've had a lot of people like really like that track, and that's also been the one that I've mainly used to like promote the record, because it's just immediately like in your face, like just grabs your attention.
Yeah, I know the video at the tunnels used that one, right?
Yeah. I had people make fun of me for that video because they were like, "Why are you talking like that?" It was funny though. But yeah, I wanted to do that ad too, because it was like, that is a really important like location for me as far as my like development as an artist and being a performer. And I wanted people, and I've been like you know, promoting the post on Instagram like to this area too, to kind of like get more like recognition within the city. So I wanted somewhere that people would like recognize on you know, as far as like locations and stuff like that. I was thinking of doing more videos like that, maybe doing one at like Rio Market, because people like doing shows there, and like maybe Electric Church or something like that. Places that I've like been to that are like, you know, people like the location, and it's like super like underground and, you know, friendly and stuff like that. So, but I didn't end up doing those. Maybe I would do them at some point, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, hearing that beat was also cool because I don't know if you're familiar. This is moving on SoundCloud. I don't know if there's a name for it yet, but producers like Heroin and like Ellens and like all these people. Yeah. But they've kind of taken like the people might get mad at me for saying, but they kind of take like the Step Team sound that you're probably familiar with. Yeah. They take that and just turn it in.
We'll cut this.
There's so many of them.
What time is it, bro? Why are there so many kids, bro? It's 11:36.
I guess it's a field trip or something. But they kind of take the Step Team sound and like put a bunch of just like, they just maximize the percussion basically. Yeah. And like, I was wondering if someone would ever do that in like a boom bap like context. Like that beat is like what I was envisioning for that, I think.
Yeah. I think there's one track that I did. It's not released, but I was trying to like recreate the Step Team sound, where it was like Step Team and then like Cash Paint, and then also where they do those fucking like crazy ass 808s where it's like womp, 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 womp. I was like trying to just like fuck around like as much as I could. I don't know. Maybe I'll drop that for like no reason one day. It samples.
That could be a SoundCloud drop.
It samples. I can't remember. It samples. A Her Words Kill song, the one that's like gotten really popular recently, because they'll be like milk alcoholic or whatever, and it's like never pack your tears in to it. Yeah, that song. So I sampled that, and I was like, bro, I'm just gonna fuck around and like just do whatever. So yeah.
As I was walking here, my friend texted me. He texted me about like your album actually. Like I didn't even show it to him. Like he just knows about it. And I told him I was doing this. He's like, you have to tell him that like, I almost cried up potentially, because he was like really high and he was like, this is speaking to me right now.
Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, that song is like, if you think about it, like not further beyond what it is, it's like, I guess, a general love song, but it's more so kind of like my own version of I Used to Love Her. So it's more so like a letter to hip hop. And that's why I kind of ended off, because I'm thinking about like my relationship as a white artist to like a primarily black art form. So that's why I'm saying on the end of the song, I'm like, maybe we'll never be ivory and ebony, but there's a chance I could love you potentially. And I'm not saying that for like any weird shit. I'm mostly referencing the Paul McCartney song, so don't take that into like any weird context, because I'm not saying it like that. So yeah, I was kind of like ruminating a little bit on like my relationship to hip hop, and like how it is kind of tied into that like nostalgia, because I remember being like 5 and 6 and listening to like stuff from like Nothing Was the Same by Drake, or like Good Kid, Mad City was playing. Those were like the two like I think bigger records, and those were like playing on the radio all the time. My mom would listen to those songs like all the time. And to be honest, when I was younger, most people were like, oh, you're like a white kid in hip hop, you must have started listening to like Eminem or something. No, actually, I'm not that crazy. I've never been that crazy on Eminem.
Me neither.
Like I'm not. Most people think that, and it's just like, nah, man, that's not what I'm on, bruh. So yeah, that's sort of like the what the song is about. But that song is also like really personal to me too, because I released that, I think, like the day after I graduated high school. So I was like, okay, I'm, like I just finished this like chapter of my life. Now I gotta come into it, like a bull in a china shop sort of thing. So I dropped that, and I got a lot of good comments about it from friends and whatnot. So yeah,
I really love Change Your Behavior also. Like, this is like a corny word used, just but like it just sounds like epic, I guess. Like
that's what the kids call an epic fail.
It feels so huge.
Yeah, it is. I would definitely say it is. There's like a lot of different like sounds and whatnot. I think I use like a lot of like Jamaican dance hall sound effects, like the laser sounds and some of the yelling and whatnot. But that song, yeah, that instrumental is from like before I even dropped Royal Brandishing, and I was like, okay, I want to come back to this and use it. And then I like wrote my verse, and I was like, okay, the only way that this is gonna sound good is if I manage to do it in like one take. So I was sat there for like 30-45 minutes trying to get the flow like exactly as I need it to be, because I'm just coming like so I'm like I'm just going ham, trying to get it exactly as I need it to be. And yeah, I'm never too crazy on like punching in unless it's like sort of like creative choice. Like LP, I think, is actually one of the first rappers to probably use punching in as like a good technique for delivery. Nowadays, like, we have people who punch in like every bar, and that's like part of the thing, like on some RXK nephew shit. But I think part of like if I was doing punching in on like Royal Brandishing, or sometimes on this record too, I think it was mostly like influenced by LP, because he would do that stuff a lot.
No, I know like Kuru, if you're familiar with them, like they like, I don't think their songs are possible to perform live, because like it just keeps going and going the entire song.
Yeah. Yeah, Kuru. Yeah, I fuck with Kuru.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not too crazy on that like scene of artists that like either came out of like hyperpop or digicore, and then like kind of like made their way into like more, I guess, electronic like sounding hip hop, like I guess Quinn, Fear Dorian, and like a lot of, I guess, Lucy Bedrock, like those. I'm not too crazy on them. I don't listen to them that often, but there's like some parts of that stuff that I can like find myself like attracted to, I guess. So, but that's not really like where my like electronic influences I think really come from.
Like that for me, like that's my shit personally. Like for you, that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, mostly like, you know, it's like older stuff. It's like LA beat scene or, you know, whatever. I made a joke to Jasmine Smoke one time that I was like, okay, my next album needs to be ambient plug. And I'm thinking about like, dude, what's his? I forget what his name is now. It's like, I can't remember, but he's like a really good like ambient plug producer. I can't remember anymore. He has like a side project. I think it's called Herbawi, and it has does like a bunch of EPs where they have like the covers it's just white, and then it's like kufias or like Arabic like scarves and stuff like that. I can't remember what his name is, but I think he lives in Syria. He lives in Syria or Lebanon, and he's like a popular like ambient plug producer. I would have to look it up and tell you, but
yeah. So when I first listened to the project, I told you some of my favorite tracks, which included Dada as Language and Art, as well as Change Your Behavior, which has my personal favorite beat on the project. Now that I have more perspective on your discography, I understand how you got to where you are today with this project.
Yeah.
As both artists and people, we're always growing and learning from our past. So what are some things about yourself that have like changed over time?
I think I've gotten to be more of a, I guess, like intellectual or like verbose writer. And I think that's just come as like an effect of like trying to have my like kind of grasp and like understand the world around me. I think that if you're like more well read, you'll be able to have like a better understanding of some things. So this first like semester of college too has actually been very beneficial to me, because, you know, if most people don't know, but I have like a Substack where I've like posted my essays from college and like late high school, where I've been talking about like bell hooks or like Frantz Fanon, and I did like a whole it was like almost 3,000 words, and it's called The Zionist Lobby Has Ruined America, and I'm speaking about like the influence of AIPAC on American politics. And it was like I thoroughly researched. There's like 20 sources for like everything, and so in my spare time I've been doing a lot of like recreational like reading and writing and researching on subjects, and I think that's also been kind of a big influence on my writing too, especially actually getting into David Foster Wallace's work specifically. He's very like verbose, and he has a bunch of like run-on sentences in his work, and, you know, like Infinite Jest is like a super long ass book. I haven't even finished it myself. I've just started reading it, but yeah, like I think that sort of writing has kind of influenced like the stream of consciousness like delivery style, where like everything is really not just like a thought that's like so potent that it like hits you and you're like, damn, he's like talking about some real shit. Like if a rapper has a, like, that's a bar, like when people call it, that's a bar, I'm like, I'm not thinking about like having bars or like doing double entendres and shit like that. I'm just trying to speak about like what is like on my mind and try to convey it in a way that like maybe people won't understand it, but it's, you know, it's, I make art for myself before I make art for anybody else. So I don't care that much about like, I mean, obviously I think you'd be a little weird to say like, if people say they don't care what anybody thinks, but I know like deep down that's not true. You have to be like a psychopath to not care about what anybody thinks of you. So that sort of thing is also kind of like influenced my writing, like kind of being aware of my like relationship to other people and that sort of thing. But I think like if I'm going back to like composition, where that sort of thing is like me trying to, like, that record was like me trying to, I guess, like grapple with death or something. And maybe, I don't know, I feel like in my heart like I succeeded in that, because I've been able to kind of like grieve, I guess, cleaner than I probably would have if I didn't make that record, and like really focus on, okay, this is something that I should probably like deal with now before like everything gets like really messy. And now I'm kind of getting to that, I mean, you know, I'm far past that point, like speaking on just specific experiences and being like this is what makes me authentic and that sort of thing. Like on composition, I was like sampling like voice recordings of my friends or whatever. There's like a clip from the end of a song. I think it's Skin of the Soul. It's just a voice recording of like me getting off the bus, which is like really dumb. I don't know why I did that, but it's just like, if I talk about being a human being and having experiences, maybe that would make me more real. I don't know. I mean, I was like 15, so I'm not sure what I was thinking, but now I feel like I'm in a space where like I'm able to kind of like think and then think about thinking and so on and so forth. So I feel like that's where I've grown as far as being a writer.
It's the thing for me to like, for like this to be like why I picked up on it, but I was watching the other interview with the AAMU'S podcast, and like I heard you use the word juvenilia, and I was like, this guy's well spoken. I didn't know that was a word that existed.
Oh yeah, juvenilia.
Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I guess, most of my earlier work I would describe as juvenilia. Like, it's, I don't know, maybe it's worth listening to if you like really want like the biggest understanding possible of like who I am, but I wouldn't obviously personally recommend it because I just don't look upon it like that fondly, really. So yeah, I think the first time I ever heard juvenilia was when I was finding out that like Bjork had an album before debut, which she made, I think, when she was like younger or something, and they were saying that was juvenilia. And funny enough, I think beginning of my senior year, I was really getting into Faye Webster, but my favorite record from Faye Webster is always going to be like her first record. I think she was like 16 or 17 when she made it, and they were calling that juvenilia, and I was like, okay, this is a really like interesting word. I'm gonna like keep this in my like memory. So that's why I was like describing my earlier stuff like that. Really, I feel like that's a befitting word to describe my earlier stuff. And maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe Work of Artist I Love You will be juvenilia when I'm like 25.
I mean, maybe in comparison, but I think right now it's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe I'm too biased. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not the guy who made it.
If I had to say like for me something, I'd say I've been more confident. That's been the big thing, cause like me in 2023 could not have like done this in person with recording in public. Like this is not something I could have done.
Yeah, definitely.
Like 3 years ago. And
if I was that young too, I definitely would not have as much stuff to like talk about too.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like thinking or reading or writing or listening to music. So I always make sure that I have something to talk about, and I think that's really important too, especially being like an interviewee. Like you gotta, like, as far as this conversation goes, I always want to make sure that like I keep things like interesting and that there's something thoughtful.
Yeah, and as an interviewer, I guess it shows that like, because I remember the first one I did, I was being so awkward. Like I didn't even like they'd answer the question, and then I didn't realize that I had to say something afterwards, so I just kind of move on to the next question. But there was no conversation happening there. And like I've come a long way,
bro. You gotta dialogue.
Yeah, I've come a long way. So I think this is kind of a good way to show like we've been doing good. Yeah,
and I won't say that I'm new to like the interviewing process, but I'm definitely kind of ramping up the interviews that I do, because I think it's a good way to like have another outlet to talk about my work, and also to get people interested going on to other platforms. It's like a good way to like develop your image and having people that are more aware of your existence as an artist.
Yeah.
So I got like a lot of positive reception, a lot of good I guess numbers for Braille Ranishing, but I didn't really have a good outlet to like talk about it. It was just kind of out there, and then people liked it or they had their thoughts about it, and I didn't have much like promotion to do beyond like doing a show or two and that sort of thing. So for this record, I've kind of like upped the ante on, doing promotional material. I've been in talks with my manager to potentially actually do vinyl with a real label instead of doing it with Elastic Stage. If push comes to shove, I might have to go back with them. But it won't be that much of a problem. And then, doing the interviews and actually talking with people and like building relationships and that sort of thing, I think is like really important for like underground artists who want to like expand upon like the fan base that they already have. I think is like that's just really important, really. So that's why I'm out here.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of interviews, so something that I've done in every interview is I play rock paper scissors with the artist that I have on, and in the last one I beat AKA Jay-Z, so I'm currently on a 2-person winning streak.
Okay.
And this is a special one because like I've done interviews in person, but when I do those, rock paper scissors is never a component of it. This is the first one that's ever been face to face in person. Okay. So this is a big deal, guys.
Okay, so wait, are we doing rock paper scissors or rock paper scissors 1 2 3?
We do rock paper scissors shoot.
Okay.
In New York, they do says shoot. I don't know why. That's been like a consistent thing.
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah,
dude. Oh my gosh. Okay. Complete tangent. Funniest thing. I didn't even see this. I should have done this when I was in New York because where I was staying was like a few streets away from like a school.
Mm-hmm.
I have a coworker from Brooklyn who like moved to Texas recently. He told me there's this thing that they do in like schools where they do this with their fingers. They make this noise. They try to see how long they can do it for before they run out of air. And it's the funniest shit ever. I'm pretty good at doing it, but I didn't know that was a thing at all because that never made it here.
Yeah, no.
When I was in school, I was like the fun. I was like, "Are you serious? This is what they do now?" I was like, "This is hilarious, bro." Mm-hmm. Anyways, yeah, that's like a random tangent.
Yeah, we're gonna do best 2 out of 3.
Best 2 out of 3.
So maybe I can be on a 3-person winning streak, or you'll dethrone me. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh, I'm up 1. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh. No, bro. This is bro.
You know what? At least you tied though, because like I have a spreadsheet to keep track of like everyone. Some people just lose outright, like Sticker Bush. I know you know Sticker Bush. Like that happened to him. So like he's like an F tier.
Bro, he's Unk, bro. He should know better.
He was talking so much smack too, but yeah. So like you're not like dead last year's performance, but like you're,
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Maybe like a D tier.
That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah.
Usually I'm good at like the psychology behind that, bro. I don't know. I'm not in the headspace for that.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
Yeah.
Moving on though. So, I was looking through your music profile, and it quickly became clear to me that you just have like such like a love for like music history. You have all those lists to compile like the discographies. Yeah. People like groups like Anticon,
Anacon, Backwoods, Death
Dilla has one.
I did one for Putrefactive Recordings too. That was just like a one-off. I was bored as shit. It was like 11 at night. I was like, this label doesn't have much on there. I'm just gonna be like, fuck it, and then I just did it.
Yeah, but like I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's like the interview, but like I'm like a massive like music history nerd too.
Yeah.
And I think what's so cool about it is like it's so interconnected, but there's also just like you can never like hear everything. Like you can never learn all there is to know. And I read the description for your 2025 album, Barrel Brandishing.
Yeah, it was by Mega. Yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about how you wanted the album to highlight like our blind spots, and obviously, like, you're going to have a lot of blind spots in just, like, the world because there's so much to learn about. So what are some things that you want to know more about that you don't right now?
I think as far as my expertise with music history goes, the most that I know about is hip-hop. And I honestly just really want to, like, try to know as much as I can. I think I have more of a blind spot for, like trap music and all of those subgenres. Because I have like a bias towards like abstract hip hop and stuff like that. I think I have like 560 or 580 something releases that I've rated on RIM that are like abstract hip hop. So honestly, like I just really want to like. I know that you can't know everything, but I want to. The goal for me is to just know as much as I can know, and I think especially like when it comes to hip hop, like. I was talking about this. I met Prem Rock in June because him and Woods came to Austin for a show. And I was talking with him and I was talking that, like, especially in my relationship as a white artist in hip-hop, I think it's important to do the knowledge, so to say. Because, there's a lot of, like... There's a lot of I don't want to say misconceptions because there's definitely some like fuck shit that like white rappers do in their relationship to hip hop. So I try to be as like respectful as I can, and I think that like being as knowledgeable as I can be about hip hop is a good way, or at least the best way that I know to like be a part of that without stepping into like speaking over people
Yeah.
or like culturally appropriating. And I think that those are also lines that you like need to like instill and speak with people and understand early on, so that you know, you don't catch yourself being checked or like saying the wrong shit, and then people don't fuck with you. So like really being knowledgeable about the genre is, I think, one of the best ways to go about, being respectful in this art form, really.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my ideas on that.
Yeah, I think like jazz is a big one I want to learn more about, because
Yeah.
I haven't heard that much jazz. I need to listen to more of it.
I think I have a tendency towards like free jazz, because when I was working on composition, you can see that there's like free jazz influence like on that album, even if it's not as prevalent. Because at that point I was getting into like, there's a song on composition that just straight up samples "Love Is Everywhere" by Pharoah Sanders, and that's like the base of the track. Because I was getting like, I was into Pharoah Sanders, I was getting into John Coltrane and Ornette Coleman and that sort of thing. And then later on I was getting into like Miles Davis, and yeah, I feel like jazz is also one of those genres, because that's really like a big predecessor of hip hop too. So that, I feel like it's also really important for people to like not only like do the knowledge on hip hop, but also like the stuff that is like made hip hop what it is as far as other genres are concerned. So jazz is also really important.
If you had like 3 like jazz recs to give, them might be like a little more like obscure. I don't know. Like, what would you say?
I think two of my favorite jazz records are "A Love Supreme" and "Black Saint and Sinner Lady" by Mingus.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to pick a more like obscure record, I would say I found this one of my recommendations. I can't remember if it's a Terminal Passage recommendation, but in 2021 I heard this record called "Demiurge" by D-Town Brass, and it's more of like an avant-garde jazz, but it's also kind of like almost like jazz punky like influence. There's like spoken word sections that are like aggressive and like negative meditations on like the state of the world and that sort of thing. So as far as like really obscure shit, I would recommend "Demiurge" by D-Town Brass. That's my third.
Awesome. I think another one is also like you mentioned earlier, like ambient plug, because like the last person I interviewed, like she produces a lot of like ambient plug stuff,
Yeah,
and that's I think one of the most like one of the coolest like sounds that the underground like SoundCloud scene has right now. There's so much like sound design and like glitch
there's a
stuff,
lot of experimentation that goes
and
behind
like field
it.
recording elements that are like involved with that.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm also. Oh, like I'm talking about his Cut Space.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Okay.
Okay, Cut Space.
I didn't know he was from like I didn't know he was from. Over there.
I think he lives in like the Middle East.
Because he's done shows in New York, so I thought he was from New York, just because that's where a lot of that scene is like.
No,
around.
I mean, unless Rim is like not up to date, I think he still currently lives in Syria. So but I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah. I'm also like, I'm not incredibly versed on ambient plug. Cut Space is probably like the biggest like thing of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know also Isaiah TG is like part of that whole sort of thing. But I really like the direction that like more like modern hip hop is going, as far as like that like underground as like a parallel to the mainstream, like stuff like Laserdisc was like super cool, and now we have like Perkatrick and stuff like that, which I think is like Perkatrick is like actually really fucking good. I'm not even gonna lie, like he's
for me it's funny because like Perkatrick in that context is like an evolution of like Rage, but really it's just clipping. Like
it's just clipping, and then it's like the power noise.
Yeah,
there's a song that he made that samples one of like the Extra Tone songs by Diabarha, where like the kicks are like super fucking fast. It's like 1,000 BPM or whatever, and that was used as like the bass for the song, which is the funny, like it like blew my mind that somebody thought to do that. It's like it's actually like it's like a genius sample for that sort of sound that like Perkatrick is like doing. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of like as far as I've gone when it comes to like ambient plug.
Yeah, I appreciate that the underground is like, it's so weird now. I think it's awesome that it's so weird.
Yeah. I also think that like even the different like styles of like the underground, like mostly on like hip hop Twitter, it's like I used to like be around like the old head guys from New York that were doing like, I've heard people call it like neo boom bap is like an alternative for like calling it drumless, or people just straight up do like actual like modern day boom bap. Those were the kind of guys that like I used to be around, and that was like what I thought was the underground. And like more of the notable heads were like Clown Cat or like Unruly, and
they came from Twitter, right?
Yeah, I met those guys through Twitter. And Unruly actually has a feature on Genesis. Sorry. Yeah, that is like a different underground, and that now there's like a conversation. Like when I grew up, I always had that understanding that like the underground was like that sort of like East Coast influence like sound, like all of the underground, like the MF Doom, like before we passed.
Like it still is though. That's a different sect of it.
It still is, but at that point, that was like the only idea that I had about it. And now there's like 5 different undergrounds. Like yeah, they always have to have that conversation where it's like, oh, you fuck with underground hip hop. Well, what kind of underground hip hop are you talking about? Like you're talking about like 1 a.m. and like Osama Sun and Netspin, or are you talking about like Rock Marciano and stuff like that?
Well, I hate the people who've just called it underground. Like that's like the blanket word, because like people will be like, I make underground music as like that's like their genre, and that's not how that works.
That's not how that works, dude. I think the funniest quote about to describe that is LP. There's a quote from Van Damme where he's like mocking somebody. I can't remember if that's the first track. He's going, "This must be underground." It's like somebody listening to the record. This must be underground. It's like so fucking funny. Yeah. Like that's kind of like my thoughts on that like whole idea. I suppose is like there's some like it's all like we're all underground. If you're not making enough to cover your rent, bro, you're underground, bro. I don't even give a fuck.
Yeah. So you're just talking about the East Coast, and New York has played a very special role in my life as the last 2 years, and hopefully this year as well. Many of the artists that I've interviewed on this channel, such as Bappy, Chapters 226, and Easy Kill Me, have come together every year to perform a show in New York. Yeah. Which like that's the one time a year that like I can get to see them perform, but also like the one chance we get to like see each other just like in general, because these are all people I've known like online for years. Yeah. And I know recently you've had a chance to do something similar, as you're part of the I'll Never Die collective, which includes other artists like June, Ricky Apollo, and Muddy Stone. And towards the end of 2025, you played your first ever show out of state in New York with them. Yes. So like, how was that whole experience?
It was so, like, the whole time I was really there. Like I was saying over and over again, I was like, I really cannot believe that this is real, because everyone else in that group, or like people that I had either gotten to know over the past year or so after June asked me to join the collective, or like June and Jay Cinema, I had known them for like years before through the internet and like having like collaborated or talked before. And that whole trip was just like so like mesmerizing. Like it really opened my eyes to like what I'm able to achieve, because I had to like fully fund my trip like by myself. I paid for my own flights, get a B&B, and like have some extra spending money. Like I did all that, and I'm like 18, and I'm like, bruh, like when I was talking with Noon, and like me and him had gotten to like talk in person for the first time, he was like, yo, dude, you're 18 and you're out here by yourself. You're able to do all this by yourself. Like I have mad respect for you. Like that's really like that's just so crazy, bro. And that was such a like a beautiful show to do too, because I was surrounded by people that I had known from here and there in like different vicinities that I had seen on Instagram and Twitter or whatever, and getting to finally see them face to face, like it was so crazy. Like I had gotten to meet You Need 3 Eyes and Mark Saunders too, and all the guys from the collective too. Like it was so amazing. I really want to go back there very soon. I think we're also trying to plan to do another show in May, so I definitely want to be back there very, very soon. I can't wait to do that shit. So yeah, that was just it was amazing.
Yeah, no, I had the same experience where like I literally like couldn't process like when I saw them. Like it felt like I was dreaming, because I've had dreams like that before. It's like no way they're right here. I can go like hit them in the face when I want to.
Yeah, I was having like the same stuff happen, so I was like, dude, like what is gonna happen, bro? Dude, me and June have had like the same. We've had conversations about which one of us is taller, because I stand at 6 foot, and the dude is he says he's 5'11", but somehow that motherfucker is taller than me. So I don't know which one of us is lying. Personally, I've measured myself, so I know what the truth is. But dude, like I was in Canarsie, and they like came on the train, and they came to Canarsie, and then I was waiting for them in this corner, and then we're walking towards each other, and I'm looking like, is that them? Because it's a short ass dude and then a big ass dude. So it's Reiki's like 5'5", and then Jun is like big as hell. He's like 5'11", and I'm like, is that them? And then I saw that, I was like, yo. And then bro, Jun hugged me so hard, bro. He like picked me up and like spun me in a circle, bro. It was like hilarious. And then dude went, yeah, I'm taller than you. Like, bro, fuck you, bro. No, I'm playing. Anyways.
Yeah, because they had all like been knowing each other in real life or had meetups like in the past, right?
Yeah, like I think June did IND and Friends 3 in Charlotte, and I know that Jay Cinema and Reiki got to perform at that show, and there were some other people there like Jade and I think Celine Hayes. There's some other people that are like in our vicinities that like we've worked with before that got to do shows, and that's what we're trying to do in May as well. We're trying to go to New York and do another one like that, and then have some other people from the collective and other people that are like in our circle of artists and whatnot. So yeah, they've been able to meet up before. Yeah,
because like I know you're newer to that group too, so is the dynamic like a little different with you because it was your first time meeting them and like you're newer in that group as well?
Honestly, I think I've been able to kind of mitigate that feeling of like, am I really like part of this? I am one of the newer members. I think
you're also like the youngest too, right?
I am the youngest member too. I was like 17 when I joined too. So yeah, me, Muddy, Didi, and Support, I think we were the alright, bro. I think we'll just wait for a second.
Yeah.
Bruh. I think Support joined shortly before me, and then me and Didi got added around the same time. Muddy was not a part of the group for most of like the album creation process, but they had appeared like often enough on the record that I think June made the decision like, they're also in New York, so they were like, so June was like, you know what, let's just have them join the group, and it was all good. I was like, okay. But yeah, honestly, I've taken up like a really important role because I was the engineer for like the entire project. Support did do some additional engineering, especially on the tracks that she was either producing or she was rapping for, but all the engineering at the end of the day, it went through me. I had to send all the tracks and whatnot, make sure it was properly mastered and that and the third. So I feel like I've had an important enough role in the group that I've been able to kind of mitigate that feeling of being like I'm young, so it's like, I'm not as involved with this shit or like that sort of thing. So I think like honestly we're all really kind of like on equal standing within the group. There's nobody really does like less or more than the other. We've been kind of trying to reorganize our structure too, so that like certain people do things for like branding or like our finances and that sort of thing. So I think we're really on equal standing with each other.
Yeah. I think it's also just cool that group exists because, like I was saying before, there's always more to learn about. And I never heard of any of those artists in that group before. And now that I know you exist, I'm like, well, there's all these other people I can go check out now.
Yeah.
So,
that's part of the thing too, where I was saying before, I know a lot of people, so I exist in all of these like separate spaces. Like I'm in IND, and I'm also a part of the Sleep Dealers, which is where I do more of my like on the internet work and that sort of thing. And I also do the engineering for them too as well. I'm trying to take up more of a role as like an in-house engineer for people. They can come to me if they need engineering and stuff like that. I don't do very expensive rates, so it's like, and I do good engineering too. I've taught myself everything I know, so I'm not like professionally taught, but I am trying to transfer to music school so I can do like independent engineering and get a hold for that sort of thing. But yeah, that's people, like if people are getting into me, there's usually like you can go in so many different directions if you're starting from me and trying to branch out and discover other people in the underground. There's so many like directions to go in,
and again, like it's all connected, so it's like
everything is connected, bro. It's free real estate.
So January is always an interesting month for me, as I think it's a great time to both reflect on the past and also look forward, because you don't know how the year's gonna play out yet. And one thing I like doing in my January interviews is I like to ask the artists like what they're most proud of for accomplishing the previous year. I think it's good to acknowledge like what you were able to do last year. And then like I know we were talking about how like it's kind of silly before, but like I guess just like do you have any sort of like vision for what this year looks like for you?
Honestly, I mean, I accomplished a lot in 2025, especially like joining IND, joining the Sleep Dealers, being with Dormitibus, dropping the album. I did like so much stuff in the last year, and I mean, obviously I can't say I have any like specific goal, but I really just want to expand and just like keep hammering on like developing my career and building new relationships with people and being able to have those same opportunities and the things that I did last year and just double on that and like, you know, come back bigger and better. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that is like the broad goal that I have sort of thing. So yeah, I guess that's what I anticipate I think will happen in 26 as long as I keep myself focused and actually, you know, try to reach for those goals and get people behind me who can support me and enjoy my work.
Yeah, hopefully more like Austin shows also.
Definitely. I definitely want to do more Austin shows than I did last year. I think I did probably 3 or 4. I definitely need to make myself more open and like obvious, like, yo, you can book me for a show. I need to bug my pals. I'm like, if you have a show, get me on the bill. I'll be there. So yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm here. I'll try to be there too.
Yeah.
Because again, like, you're the first person I've done that's like here, you know,
in person. So
I definitely want to try to increase my like, I guess like presence in like the Austin like scene because like again, like, even though I've been here, I haven't done anything like really with it. So it's like I need to.
Yeah, I mean, you can never really go wrong. I mean, any city has their fair share of like weirdos and shit like that. So it's always good to, I think that's a good thing too, like to be invested enough in the scene that like you know where not to go and where to direct people in like the right direction. Like there's definitely some like venues and stuff that are like under fire and they're, you know, a lot of like bookers that aren't good people at all. And a lot of the like a good thing about the hardcore scene too is that they're very intolerant about that sort of thing. So everyone like really keeps each other like up to date on like, yo, who's a weirdo and like who's not, where should you go, this, that, and the third. So there's a lot that I've learned in the past year, like being more involved with the scenes here in Austin, and I'm looking forward to, you know, expanding on that further really.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, as the episode comes to a close, I know it's been a long interview, as it comes to a close, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Shout-outs
to IND, shout-outs to the Sleep Dealers, shout-outs to everybody that was on the record. Mel Maish, Hi Girlfriend, Reiki Apollo, Gianna Dell, June, J Cinema, Jordan, Kat, Zardy, you know, all of them guys. Shout out everybody that's in the this is so niche. Shout out everybody that's in the Center for New Internet Artistry. So like all the Weed 420 guys, the 7 Form guys, Octamovius Scheffner, Giannis Lago, DJ Alvaro, Samuel Pochi, Heaven Soul, Sticker Bush. They also just dropped a new record in January. It's very fantastic. Go check it out. Shout out to, I don't even know, bruh. There's so many people, bruh. You know, yeah. Honestly, shout out to my mom and my dad, I guess.
Facts.
Shout out my grandma for driving me to the metro station. Yeah. Yeah, I can honestly say that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out all those people, and shout out Departure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for also taking the chance of being willing to be the first in-person one.
Yes. First long form and
this is it's a scuff setup. Like I'll be honest, like I brought this mic stand, right? I don't know if you want to try to like hold up a little bit.
Yeah. It's like it's stuck in his backpack.
Yeah, because I thought it would be able to wrap around the table, but the table is too thick. So I was like, I gotta find a workaround. So like, thank you for, you know, putting up with me and going through this whole process.
Hey, it's all good, bro. I've dealt with worse.
But yeah, all those links will be in the description down below. So if you're at the end of the interview and you don't know him like at all, I don't know how you're here, but like please go tap in with him. Go listen to his new album. Go listen to his
Artist
older
I Love
albums.
You is out now. we're working on a vinyl. It'll be out soon. I've had people ask me about a vinyl. It's coming. I just need to figure out the details. Okay, stop bugging me.
Yeah, and I'll have 3 songs by him in the playlists for Hidden Driveway that are on Spotify and SoundCloud.
Yes,
I know on SoundCloud it's kind of a limited selection in terms of stuff that you probably like, but I'll figure something out for those.
Maybe I'll put the 3 songs that you need on SoundCloud and put them in the playlist.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Word.
But yeah, so I'm Amu. This has been the Hidden Driveway Show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.